everyone, it's Meredith with Soul Navigation. How are you? I hope you are wonderful. We are here live at Soul Navigation headquarters, me and Teddy tonight, to bring you Leo rising, the very much awaited Leo rising. Now, a lot of people understand the stereotypes and the regal archetypes of Leo rising, but today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to peel the onion back and I'm going to take you to the darker side of Leo rising. Why would I do such a thing? Why would we take that mask off and look inside? Because it's sort of uncharted territory. If you are a Leo rising, if you are a Leo, if you have your Mars in Leo or your Venus in Leo and your Moon in Leo or a bunch of planets, like 3 or more in the 5th house, this video is for you. And I'm going to take you into yourself in a way that you probably feel but might not have articulated it before, not quite like this. So stick with me through this video because it's going to be deep, it's going to be real, and it's going to be raw. First, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers and my super supporters. I'm so grateful. And if you're not a subscriber, I hope after this video you will subscribe and ring the bell because we are doing all kinds of new stuff over here and I don't want you to miss out at all. So please subscribe and help me get to 40,000 subscribers by January 1st. Okay, let's do a deep dive on a side of Leo rising that maybe you haven't seen before. That's Teddy. It's gonna get poignant. So stick with me. Tonight, tea is wine. Actually, I should say my wine is tea, peppermint. Let's start, okay? So this is our fixed fire sign or our majestic cat, our noble one who reigns supreme, right? But doesn't always know it. Well, that's a good start at least, right? Oh my gosh, we have so far to go. I can't wait for you to see Leo in its depth. Very few people see Leo in its depth. And I'm a myth buster, and I like to show you the sides of the signs and planets and how astrology works in a way that hasn't been explained to you before, in a way that is not cliche. If you're a Leo rising, a Leo sun sign, packed 5th house, Leo Mars, Leo Moon, you know, watch this video because I think it's going to benefit you knowing yourself in this new way. But before I go to the dark side completely, before I make Leos hate me, not love me, and Leo risings hate me, let's give them a little more, should we? Shall we? Just give them a little bit more, just sprinkle a few more sprinkles on that cupcake. Okay, so we know when these people are healthy that they're open-hearted, they are massively creative, they're light, they're warm, they're generous, they're creative. Did I say that? They're performers oftentimes. They are outwardly fabulous and they have really big dramatic energy, right? And they are the great performer. They are the self-expressed, funny, always on, always with it, super confident, never on, off. They are expressive and optimistic and open-hearted and big-hearted. And I think they have gilded hearts, hearts of gold, in truth. You know, that's all super fun, isn't it? But what if they grew up in an environment that didn't love or support them, or didn't even want them? What did that look like when it didn't work out well, when they couldn't get to or even develop those very gifts, the things that I just said that describe them? What if they had an environment that didn't allow them access into that part of them? What if they could never get into those gifts? It goes dark. I mean, it goes very, very dark. it is going to go into, when a Leo cannot develop itself, into the horrible, infinite abyss of nothingness. Teddy doesn't like me talking poorly about Leos. Those are the undeveloped Leos. Of course, that's not you. But you as a Leo rising can be that gregarious, infinitely loving, gilded heart, right? If you're in an environment, an early environment that helped you find that, but not everybody gets that option. And when that doesn't happen, these Leo risings can become shy. They can become immobilized. They can become actually never self-actualized, and they can even become suicidal. So Leo needs to know they exist, they matter, and they are recognized. We're going to go into it deeper. I'm going to show you behind the mask. I'm going to show you the parts of Leo rising down deep inside. And by the way, forgive me for my Leo, Everything Leo video. That was the very first video that I did on YouTube. I'm not joking. And I actually did it on Facebook Live. And then I uploaded it to YouTube. That's my very first video, if you can believe that. This is not the last video that I'm doing, but I've come a ways. I've come a ways. And I did like that video and content, but I wasn't able to go deep enough. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to go deep inside the Leo. So we've got two big themes with Leo rising, and the sun sign and the moon, and wherever you have Leo in your chart. This is for wherever you have Leo in your chart. This part will resonate with you. But we've got two big themes. Leos need recognition and they need approval. And Leo risings don't just want both. The truth is that they need to be recognized for their strengths. And they also will build a life that others, no matter what, will approve of. Let's go into what that means. So you'll see that Leo risings want to actually build a life that other people approve of. You're going to see that they are the antithesis of the rebel. And the rebel can be seen as their opposite sign, Aquarius, that breaks boundaries. And Leo is not a conformist because they're quite creative, but they do seek to build a life that those who matter to them will approve of the life in which they have built for them. But this creates the biggest conundrum and the entrapment that they will soon face in their life. Show me a Leo, a lion that's not caged in some way. Show me a Leo that has all the freedom in the world and is not held hostage to pleasing other people. I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to go deeper. So Leo doesn't usually get just this recognition or admiration for free. Some do, but really and truly, the Leos I know, they work very, very hard for the recognition, the admiration, and the approval and the attention that they seek. It's recognition and approval are the two core things that they strive for, especially when they are little. 0 to 12, 0 to 14, 0 to 16, 0 to 18, their developmental years. They don't usually just get a crown on their head and there they go. Not Leo risings. Leos might get that, but Leo risings, they sort of have to perform this role. Let me try to talk about it a little bit deeper and more articulately. The Leo risings that I know really work their tail off for these tasty treats of recognition and approval. And these people, especially when they are born, when they're babies, they need this outside, very strong life force energy that reinforces their own existence and their life. So the dominant parent usually is here to say something along the lines. This is not every Leo rising, but many. You're okay. I like you. No, actually, I don't just like you. I love you. No, actually, I don't just love you. I adore you. I cherish you. And when a Leo rising gets that cookie, if you will, I'm telling you, that develops their psyche. That develops their psyche. So that right there, my friends, is at the core. I matter. Because most Leo risings have heard that. And if they're born into an environment that does not tell them that, they still crave knowing that their existence, they are ruled by the sun. The sun is the life force energy of all living creatures. And when they don't get the approval that they matter, that their life matters, that they were wanted, they go to a very dark place. But the Leos that did get that, that is what builds their identity. So because Leo is ruled by the sun, Leos are going to be focused in this lifetime, and Leo risings are going to be focused around developing their identity, their identification. Who am I? What am I about? So we're going to tackle this a little bit more. Stick with me because I want to take the mask off of that. When it's your rising sign, it's the mask that you wear. It's the way that you ask another person to see you. It is literally how I see you and how I ask you to see me. It is the lens in which I see out of it, and is how I start every single project. So as a Leo rising, you will start your projects with enormous pride. And also when you're a Leo rising, your ego, boom, it's smack up front. It's on the line, literally on the line. And when you are born a Leo rising, you shoot down the birth canal and you're looking for a stage and a spotlight to land on. And you come out taking a bow for real. And it's the greatest performance of your life so far because it's called birth. I'm here, ta-da! I'm here. Is everybody, wait a minute, where's the applause? Where's the applause? Where's the applause? And they come out of the gates optimistic. They come out of the gates enthusiastic. They come out of the gates ready to embrace you with genuine, enormous, gargantuan, big, big love. And that's their hello. Their hello is filled with love. And they usually learn at birth, especially Leos, and it can go 50-50 with Leo risings, but I should say they're usually born with, and we have to look at the whole chart, with very powerful egos. They know that they are wanted, and they need, if they don't know it, they need that message loud and clear, and they will chase and hunt people who they love down to get the reinforcement that I'm wanted, right? I'm recognized, right? I matter, right? Remember, they're ruled by the sun. The sun is the life force energy of all living things. They have that energy on as the lens in which they see out of, and in the way in which they ask you to see them. See me in my importance. See me in my value. See me in how I matter, right? So this part's a little bit harder to say, but Leo risings, look who I got here. He's my boy. He's with us today. Isn't he cute? Don't you love him? He's jealous of everybody out there today. That, or he wants me to take him on a walk. But Leo risings they're sort of held prisoner, and their lives have been designed this way from very, very young. I'm telling you right now, you didn't create it in them, unless you're the mom watching this about your child and, who's developed this way. But Leo risings, for the longest of times, can only see their value through the approval of other people. And let me be honest with you, they don't like that. They don't want that. They don't even know how that trap happened to them, but it did. And it is so. And it is such a secret, or not so secret, and it's painful, and it's hard, and it feels lonely, and it feels like a prison. It feels like a jail that they can't get out of. And when they're unhealthy, they care more about how many Instagram likes they got rather than the genuine relationships they're able to create inside authenticity. They struggle because relationships require vulnerability. And if you know a lion, they don't like being vulnerable, do they? No. It can be very, very painful to be Leo rising. It's just that they will never, never show it to you. Never. They could run 5 miles with an arrow in their paw, and they will look good doing it, only to collapse at the end and die in your arms, right? And you never even knew. Yeah, they hide their wounds, my friends. They hide their wounds. It's going to look like, let me just say, if you're an underdeveloped Leo, you're going to care about those Instagram likes or those Snapchat likes or those TikTok likes so much, and you're going to create an addiction to them, that's how you get your value. We have to be very, very careful with our Leo risings right now that are younger than 18, because they're growing up in this obsession, and this obsession creates vacant relationships, because the very thing that Leo needs to cure its wounds is true love without conditions. And I'll tell you how this happened. I'm going to tell you how their wounds actually happened. So they oftentimes got these big messages in their life from their parents. And for Leo risings, they probably admired their parents greatly. They may have even seen their parents as kind of royalty or regalness, or very high up, or very maybe high standards, royal standards, big ideas. Not the child, usually the Leo rising child, lived in an awe or admiration of parents, and so they oftentimes felt like they couldn't live up to the parents, and the father was usually very dominant in the household. It doesn't always have to be that. It could be a very dominant mother figure too. So if you're a Leo rising, did you have a dominant parent that you thought, were kind of regal or noble or larger than life or better than you, or a parent that you felt like you had to live up to? But very early in life, parents created a message program that, I'm not saying they really did this, but this is how the Leo rising person interpreted it. And this can bleed into the Leo energy in your chart. So if you have a Leo moon or all those other planets in Leo, not past Jupiter though. This only goes to up through Venus. So if you have Leo up through Venus, so I better say it out loud: Leo rising, Leo moon, Leo Venus, Leo Mercury a little bit, Leo Mars, or a packed 5th house. So your parents' messaging, but especially Leo rising, was I love you and I approve you and I accept you if you get straight A's, if you are a champion, if you go to med school, if you take care of your little brother, if you clean your room, right? So Leo rising, leave a comment below. What was your if? So love comes with conditions to meet. Leo risings will twist themselves into a pretzel to fulfill the condition, to fulfill the condition. Now, the parents are unaware that they even do this. The parents just think they're trying to build a good person. The parents have no idea. But they're creating a person, a performer that will do a tap dance and twist into a pretzel for the approval and the love of the parent. And they will meet those conditions. This is so painful because eventually they become people pleasers. They become admiration seekers. Because when they were younger, 0 to 14, 0 to 16, you tell me, when did you transition out of needing your parents' approval when did you transition out of needing your superior's approval if you weren't raised by your parents, but those who you cared about or who held domain over you? You know, at what age did you quit needing their approval? Have you ever? You could be 50 years old and still not want to disappoint your parents. But this is how these Leo risings people pleased their way through life. They wanted their parents' approval so badly when they were young. Eventually in time, they probably became held hostage inside their parents' life or inside their family's life at some point. Doing what I need to do to be recognize that I exist, recognize that I matter, to sincerely and authentically add value to my family, to my parents, and to also receive approval. And this cycle can become very, very dark and very, very sad, very, very quickly. But nobody knows. Nobody can see it. It's a secret. So eventually, in time and with wisdom, after a few, punches to the gut, kick in the teeth, a couple slams up against the head, a couple wake-up calls, after they grow, it's like they wake up and they start developing their authentic self by getting in touch with putting their authentic needs and desires in front of their parents' needs and desires or their family's needs and desires. And when you meet a Leo rising that can be vulnerable and show you their vulnerability, when you meet a Leo rising that can genuinely cry in front of you and hold their ache out in front of themselves and offer you their wound, wow. You've met a Leo rising that's done some work on themselves. Yeah. And I don't mean like a victim, but I mean when you see that regal wall come down and they scoop up the piece of themselves that they haven't had the courage to show anyone, and they show it to you. Oh my. Do you know what they just said about you? Do you know the statement they made? This is similar to Scorpio because they don't do that. Have you, my friend, ever met a Leo that took off his mask for you? Have you? Tell us about it. Let's build a Leo community here and tell me about when that happened to you or when you gave yourself that way to another Leo risings. Tell me. So father can be really big in a Leo rising's life. And a lot of astrologers see the sun as the father figure in the chart. I don't. I look to Saturn, but I look to the sun secondarily. I happen to find more accuracy with Saturn in my readings for father rather than the sun, but I will take note of the sun, and sometimes I combine the story together. Wherever Saturn is and wherever the sun is will show me your father, mostly Saturn, but every single sign has a planetary ruler, and Leo's planetary ruler is the sun. And wherever this is in your chart, this Leo, wherever Leo is in your chart, it's where you seek to matter. It's where you want to shine and be seen. It's also where you have a deep loyalty. And it's where you, I won't say conform because they are creators and performers, and they're the most creative sign, but it's where they do want to have approval. And so in order to get approval, I need to know what it is you approve of, right? So they're real people. I mean, they need people and they need connections, because when they're underdeveloped or undeveloped, or for the first 18 years of their life, their filter of their identity goes through what you think of them. And then after they grow out of that phase, sometimes it's 14, 16, 18, 21, 28, Saturn return, it's at different degrees when we develop out of this. When we come to measure our own self-worth through our own judgment, not their judgment. So at first, Leos, at the first part of their life, Leos are usually very obedient. And they're the good girl, the good boy. They love the love they get when they do things right or they do things well. It's like my dog Teddy with the treats. We're out there walking and I have the little clicker. I don't even have him on a leash. Can't put a Sagittarius on a leash. He will not have it. He won't go potty. He won't behave on a leash. No. So I take him off the leash. I trust him. I got cookies in my pocket and a clicker. Cookies in a clicker, and I go click, click. He comes running. He gets a cookie. He knows I approve of him. He knows that he has to do the good boy behavior to get the cookie. That is Leo until it's not. So, and listen, we have to take the entire chart into consideration. If you have Uranus rising, then you got to go watch my Aquarius rising video. Okay, so know your planets. I want you guys to learn astrology with me. And if you haven't seen my astrology like 101 or my soulmates or how to read a chart, please go watch those. Like binge watch my channel to learn, because I want to be able to talk to you in an advanced way, because we've got so much, there is gobs and gobs and gobs on YouTube and on the internet with the stereotype of Leo. Oh, they're royal. Oh, they're happy. No, why are they like that? If you can't know the psyche, you won't deeply understand the sign. You'll just pigeonhole people and talk in stereotypes. I want you to really understand the archetypes. So if you have a lot of Aquarian energy, or this just does not sound like you, I promise you loud and clear, you've got something else going on in your chart. So if you were just born a rebel and you're a Leo rising, you've got something. You've got Uranus in a prominent place, either on your sun or on your rising sign, or you've got Pluto somewhere, right? You might be Mars rising. So we do have to look at the whole chart. This is just Leo rising energy, and then Leo energy secondarily. But tell me if you were the good girl or the good boy for the longest of times, if you're Leo rising. The good boy and the good girl is sort of like how a Taurus has a great relationship with food. A Leo has that same kind of relationship with admiration, right? And they do it through their creativity too. So they learn people. They are sort of born an actor, and they learn people. They learn people's preferences so they can measure up to their preference. They want to see through your eyes, right? Leo rising wants to see through your eyes so I can learn your preferences, so I can then become those preferences, so then you approve of me. Do you see the vacancy? So Leo risings live in a vacant relationship with themselves and to others for a long period of time. And they play an act and they get a shtick that works. And they need that approval so badly, because when they were young, when they were babies, when they were children, their parents came with a conditional approval called if. I'll love you if you clean your room. I'll love you if you come home. I'll love you if you get it, if you become, I don't know, a neosurgeon. I'll love you if it's transferred in condition. I have to perform. I have to be good. I have to meet certain measures to get love. And they equate approval with love. they think it's the same thing. I can approve of you and not love you. And I can love you and not approve of what you're doing, right? So they're not synonymous, but in Leo's world, it's hard for them to separate that. Some Leo risings feel like whatever they do is not good enough for their family, or they always fall short and they never feel good enough. So Leos are born creative. And many Leo risings are born to be on stage or in the spotlight or act. And it's deep, deep, deep in their psyche that they start at a really young age playing out different roles that will create joy and laughter and love and abundance and optimism and everything good and feel goods. I mean, these guys, if we could harness their energy and stick it in a vial and give us a shot, they are dopamine. They are the happiness pill for real. But they learn that, and they learn what makes you happy. Does this make you happy? Does this make you happy? Does this make you happy? I'll be that. And they forget about what makes them happy. So they start with, in life with their parents, they start with the good roles, right? They start with the ingenue. They start with, the savior. They start with the playful one, the jokester, the Jack Black, the just fun, right? And when they still don't get the approval that they want, they can then turn to the villain role. They can turn to becoming the rebel. And, when they first start out, and they usually do win the approval of their parents, but I want to hear from you, Leo risings. Were there some of you that felt like you just couldn't do enough and didn't feel like you had the approval of your parents? Right? So when they first start out in their life, and I want to know, what age did that shift at for you? Because like Scorpio and Aquarius and Aries, they can start out in life as a rebel. I mean, they shoot down the birth canal and land on a motorcycle with a leather jacket, right? Or whatever is different from their family. They are set to be different, to break free. We talked a lot about Scorpio rising and how they struggle, and they have a giant relationship with mother, where Leos have a giant relationship to father or grandfather or authority or patriarchy usually. Now, sometimes if you have Saturn retrograde, you could be a Leo rising or have a lot of Leo. And if you have a Saturn retrograde, it means dad not there, or dad is missing. Dad is absent in some way. So they could be chasing an idea of authority they could be hungry for this thing that they can't quite get. And that's father, right? Father's approval, father's love. And they learn to tap dance and do a shtick. Ooh, do you like this? Or do you like this? What do you like? What do you like? What do you like? What do you like? I can do it. I can do it. And they end up being Sammy Davis Jr. and Elvis Presley all wrapped up, although those were not Leos. But I'm just saying they have that kind of star performance. And they can end up just trying so hard that they absolutely burn out. And they can even burn out before they even know who they are on the inside. They can burn out trying to make their parents so proud that by the time they're 20 years old, they're just fried. And they're trapped on a gerbil wheel that they don't even want to run on. Oftentimes, they try so hard to become someone that their parents are proud of, someone that their parents want, someone that their family adores, cherishes, and likes, admires. And when that's your goal, even if it's subconscious, because it's usually subconscious for Leo risings, they usually become it. But at what cost? At what cost, right? They come to this place where they finally wake up and they ask themselves, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for my parents' approval? And what happens when they wake up one day and they realize that they never got to even create their own story, their own life, but they've been trapped in some role that they have to play that has been put upon them. And what do? They play it out for the approval and the recognition. And they like the reward that they get from playing that role. which is admiration. They can learn that this role can work out there in the world too. It can open up doors, it can win me auditions, it can get me a job, it can get me a date, it can get a hello, it can get me, I don't know, the icing and the sprinkles and the candle on the cupcake. It can get me a lot of good stuff. They start building their adult relationships with this role, and they're just now in a habitual pattern. And deep inside, it feels unfulfilling. It feels lonely and sad and depressing. They often never look like this. I mean, you look at these people, you would never hear them say, how can I have all this admiration and all this love and yet feel so lonely inside? How can it even be? How can I be this good of a person, do this good of work in life, be exactly who my parents wanted me to be, and yet be so alone? How can it be? You know, it's that drive from Arizona to San Diego through the desert. Have you ever done a desert drive where you swear you see the mirage in front of you, and you drive and you know, I'm going to reach the mirage, I'm going to reach the water. I see the water out in front of us on the highway. And eventually you leave Phoenix, and 5.5 hours later, you've been chasing a mirage for 5.5 hours all the way to San Diego, and you never saw the water. Why? It was never there. That's how Leos can chase illusions. They can chase that illusion. That mirage is the adoration that their soul seeks. It's just an illusion. And one day, after they grow, after they get kicked in the teeth, they realize that. But let me tell you, it is a painful, painful road until they learn that. It's very painful. Let me tell you, Leo risings have heard you are fake so many times. You know, if you're a Leo rising and nobody has ever told you that you're fake, you either have a lot, I would love to see your chart, but a lot of Leo risings, even the ones that are healthy, that have come to understand that vulnerability is actually the key to true love and true authenticity. And being vulnerable and standing in your vulnerability is literally the golden nugget that lives inside of wisdom. But until they know that, they probably have been a bit fake. Although they don't see it that way, they have, to the Leo rising, they don't know they're fake. They're not trying to be fake. They're trying to get you. They're trying to understand you and you and you and you, and what are all the preferences and what are all the dynamics, and they're brilliant at it. They're really good at it. So they're not fake, but I guarantee you they've been called fake, and it has devastated them. It has hurt them. That's the arrow in the paw, and they will walk 5 miles on it. They will walk 5 miles on it. They have so much pride. They can, if they never outgrow that, build their life in a way that's built on that mirage of adoration and not cement. And they can get trapped in needing that IV drip of love me, like me, adore me, right? Recognize me, acknowledge me. When they become burnt out on this and they really do a deep dive, by the way, if you are a Leo or a Leo rising and you're struggling with this, go to soulnavigation.com and get a reading with one of my amazing readers to help you peel the layers. Or if you just want to understand your chart, we're keeping our rates really low right now until January 1st, and then we're going to raise our rates a little bit, but they're all so affordable. Go get a reading at soulnavigation.com. It's only $50 for a half hour or something. It's so worth it. I mean, it's like worth 10 years of therapy, a half-hour session of astrology. The astrology just doesn't lie. It's so deep. It's so profound. I'm not even going to be able to get to everything about Leo rising today that I want. And there's just so much. So let me keep going. But get a reading if you're struggling with this, because this stuff is hard. When the Leo rising has that awakening, that great awakening, where it's like, wow, I have people pleased my life away just for approval, just for the stage, just for the recognition, just for the spotlight. And I haven't built myself at the core. And I don't even know really what my preference is and what do I want, and who am I. If they are gutsy enough to dig down deep and soul search for the vulnerabilities, and then be vulnerable inside relationship with somebody, like be really genuine and real about those wounds, that's when they will create self-love and true love. But it's very hard to do because they have to risk not being approved of the very thing they want in order to be approved of. Did you get that? Think about that conundrum. That's hard. So they have to have guts to do this lifetime. And that's why so many of them are so courageous. So if you're Leo rising, let's pray that you have some squares. Let's pray you've got Scorpio and Taurus in your chart, so you've got some friction and some squares and some heat and some hardship, because if you have all trines and all easy aspects, you're just going to stay in this place of just, soaking up the spotlight. And you'll be trapped in a role that you'll be playing out for the rest of your life, because there was no crisis to get you out of it. And it will never lead you to authentic soul growth. But if you've got squares in your chart or hard aspects, you will have crisis and you will have challenges in your life. And this will force you. I mean, it's very hard to get out of the trap that Leo risings have created for themselves, or the trap that was created for Leo risings that they took the bait in, got programmed in, and couldn't get out, right? So you get a square, you get some crisis, and it's like, whoa, I don't even have time to play a role. The thing that's going to require me to get out of this is for me to be authentically me. And it's when the stakes are so high that you refuse to accommodate any other agenda other than the agenda that has grown out of your own value system for yourself. And you've had it with all of them. You've had it with doing what they want you to do. You've had it with needing their adoration, their attention, or their like. And you go into a space that says, I'm okay with my flaws. When you meet someone who loves you for you with no if, that is a shell-shocking day. Have you, Leo rising, met somebody who loves you for your flaws, for your weaknesses, and for your vulnerability? And is it somebody other than your parents and other than your children? Is it somebody who you are romantic with? Because that's hard to find. And when you find that, that is the most magical, sort of unbelievable mind boggle for a Leo rising. They don't believe that somebody's out there because they grew up with people who had a subliminal or a subconscious message that said, you need to be the greatest version of yourself for me to recognize you, admire you, like you, love you. Now, if you're a Leo rising and you got a great mom or dad that was just automatically, unconditionally loving of you, that just adored you from start to finish and you could do no wrong, that's beautiful. But what happens to that person is they actually believe they're going to go out there and find that everywhere in the world. And they get kicked around and they realize, wow, nobody really loves me like my parents. Nobody worships me or adores me or cherishes me like that. And so parents or family become their safe haven. And the world starts to look really ugly, and that can get depressing. There's about 4 different traps that this setup for Leo risings can create in their life. And it's very painful until they develop themselves authentically with their own individual creative authenticity. They've got to learn how to be genuine with themselves, like be real about these are my flaws, and they're okay to have. They're ugly. These are the ugly pieces of me. I don't want you to see them, but I'm going to be courageous enough to show them to you. Do you still accept me? Do you still like me? You do? I don't believe it. You're kidding. No way. You do? Who are you? Are you my family? Are you lying? What do you want from me? I'm not buying this. And the process goes something like that. So do you have somebody in your life that doesn't need you to wear your mask or do your act or play your role? I mean, if you do, my God, that's liberation. My God, that feels good, doesn't it? Leos become afraid that if they don't play the role that they are so good at, it could be lover, it could be mother, it could be nurturer, it could be loyalist, it could be seducer, it could be performer, it could be artist, tap dancer, pole dancer, any kind of dancer, it could be performer, it could be Daddy Warbucks, it could be Santa Claus. They're afraid that if they don't play that role, you're not going to love them. So what do? Always play that role. So if you're a Leo rising, who don't you have to play the role for? That's my question. Okay, let's keep going. The Leo rising, because of all of that, is going to figure out very quickly what the conditions for your love are. Learning this is imperative. And when they're a baby or a child, this is life and death. Because if you don't love them, you'll abandon them. And they'll be alone. So they have to figure you out fast. What do I need to do to get this love? What do I need to do to get this admiration? What do I need to do to never be left? Right? I don't want my Leos to hate me for pulling off the mask, but I am kind of tired of talking about Leo in their act. Meaning, most people believe the act that you, Leo rising, are playing, unless, and tell me if you are a unique Leo, unless you're able to show and share your vulnerabilities, your realness, the parts that are not so glittery and shiny and sparkly and beautiful and perfect and fabulous and sensational and incredible, and right? So in time, you're going to grow, Leo rising, Leos, by learning how to become authentic and learning how to take off the mask, taking off the shtick that gets you the applause and gets you the laugh. You're going to learn how to genuinely earn it, not for the applause and not for the reward, but for connection. We're going to go into that in a minute. Leo rising knows how to win a crowd, but an evolved Leo rising isn't satisfied with that. The evolved Leo rising wants to earn genuine admiration through illuminating you. And that comes in time. And you'll see that shift in your Leo rising friends or children. I want to go back and review something. Your first house, the ascendant, is the message that you got from day one. It doesn't matter. Everybody's ascendant is different. The Leo rising message is different than the Aries rising, than the Capricorn rising. But it is the message that you got from day one of your life. It's how you came out of the birth canal. And it's how your parents or whoever raised you gave their messages to you. And your parents or your mom got you first. Your mom is the very first person who got you. And then maybe your dad if he was there. But your parents, got their hands on your clay mold and they molded you and they sculpted you. And it's in this early programming, it's in this early learning that you learn your ascendant. And you can actually be blocked from the whole rest of your chart. The ascendant is the front door, but your chart can be blocked from being expressed if the message of your ascendant is so big that it blinds you, right? So Leo risings are really big. When you have a Leo rising, you have a big, 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 big message from early parenting. And you might get stuck in just that one job of trying to fulfill that message, so you can't even get to the rest of your chart. And if you're an Aquarian and you're trapped in the Leo rising messaging of your parents, be great and I'll love you, do this and I'll love you, be the best, be better than that. Oh, you can do better. Oh, you're better than that. Okay, next competition. What, you got the bronze? What about the silver? Hey, let's go for gold, you know? And it wasn't always done with meanness. This is done with a great magnanimous love from your parents. Oftentimes the child doesn't want to disappoint. They don't dare disappoint. Go look at your chart and tell me where you have Leo in your chart, because this is where you want to be noticed. This is where you want to be recognized. This is the part in your life where you want to shine. This is where, believe me, people see you. How do you get a Leo to hate you? How do you get a Leo to hate you? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to crack the code. You want your Leo to hate you? Leos don't hate me. You have to play the meh game. Okay, practice with me. Meh. Meh. Yeah. You're just meh. It's M-E-H. Meh. Practice. Goes like this. You're okay. You're all right. I like you. Huh? Do I like you? Not sure. Kinda. Yeah, kinda. Sorta. Medium. Nah. That's how you kill a Leo, right? You don't hate them because then they know they got your attention, and you don't love them because then they know they got you, right? Yeah, meh them. Meh. Don't hate me. Hey, this is Dawn Wonder, and I created this Christmas crystal for you that I am borrowing to wear for you. And we are giving this away. All you have to do to win this, we're going to pick a name out of the hat, right? And this is our Christmas crystal. It is so gorgeous. Can you see it? Oh my gosh, we're giving it away. Yep. All you have to do is put Dawn Wonder in the comments and I want to win. And you can go check out all my crystals. They are so, so, so beautiful at my shop at Soul Navigation. This is my World Peace necklace. I recommend everybody get this World Peace necklace and put love into the world. They really do shine this bright. Isn't that gorgeous? But we're giving this one away. So just write in the comments, I want to win, and just put Dawn Wonder, and go check out her website. It's amazing. Her jewelry is amazing. It was featured in Vogue magazine. Anyways, back to Leo. Just anybody who hung in here this long deserves to be in the contest. Oh, I was telling you how to get a Leo to hate you. Yeah. So the meh is like pouring water on the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah, you will melt them. They will be insufferable. They can't stand people just being ambivalent about them. Like, yeah, you're all right. I mean, you're not that, you're not the best. You're not the worst. That's how you kill a Leo. Tell me if I'm true. But you know what? They will get so hurt. Guess what they'll do to you? You want to know what they'll do to you? They are going to ignore you back with pride. They will. They will ignore you back better than you are ignoring them. I'm going to do it better than you. So think of this sign as fixed fire, and think of this sign as hot. And heat rises, and these people are like cats. And I learned this from the brilliant Sue Tompkins, and her book is wonderful. But all fire signs like to rise, like the heat rises. They like high positions, and Leo's like a high position, like a cat, like a good vantage point. And they like to be high. They like to be high socially. They have high social standards. They like They like to be high above others. They like to be high on the social ladder. They like to be above the riffraff, right? They like to be up. And they were born with this sort of noble monarch regality. They're very regal, and some of them aren't even aware that they have this about them, but many of them are. But a lot of them don't realize this about themselves in truth. But they were born with sort of a royalty about them inside of them. And oftentimes a lot of them come from a past life of royalty. In truth, when you look at Queen Elizabeth and her family, there's a royalty and there's a way they carry themselves, right? With a great nobility and a great pride. Well, most of them. You can also see the sadness, like they don't get to have an authentic joy, like jumping on the trampoline. So if you're Leo rising, go jump on the trampoline, right? Like get into that playful, childlike joy that's just total glee and removes that stiffness that can come with being high on the perch. When Leos have developed their authentic light and they discover that they can build life creatively on their own terms, right? And still be loved for it. Now they have to take a lot of risks and they have to be very courageous to do that. But when they discover that they can do that, they have an awakening, they come into themselves. And when they do this, they light up the world. And when they become more humble and they become more authentic and more vulnerable and more courageous. And it's in this moment in time where they learn the power of giving attention rather than receiving it, rather than getting. They learn the power in giving attention to others to help others shine. They illuminate others' gifts and talents and strengths. And it's at this time that you will see the Leos genuine and the deepest gift they have of love. Leo rules the heart, and they love bigger and more loyally than anybody. And when you get to bask in the true authentic love, not the seeking approval for your love, but the true authentic love that's vulnerable and gritty and kind of ugly at times. If a Leo rising shows you their ugly side, they love you. You will see them in their best. When they illuminate others, they just spill love and warmth and generosity and enthusiasm and optimism out into the world. They're very emotional people. They crave and they need and they want and they will get deep attachments to other people. They need an investment in love and in loyalty, and they need it to be reciprocal. And so in order for them to even do their lives, they have to invest in another person or people. When this happens, when they find this true kind of love, their expressions of joy and glee are just so dramatic, but so is their anger. I mean, they will froth at the mouth with anger, and they are so dramatic in their rage when they are pissed off. I mean, it's like an Italian soap opera. Yeah. So if Leo rising gets hurt by you, oh Lord, back down. I'm telling you, it's ferocious. It's like a lion with a zebra, and you're the zebra. So wherever you have Leo in your chart, this is where you feel most alive. This is where you are the giant sunbeam in your life. Leos in this lifetime, including those with like really prominent fifth house planets, there's an emphasis here for you to be creative. So in which way do you want to be creative? Leo risings have to have a creative outlook in life. They have to have a creative expression to live. They just have to. So do Leo suns. And to be creative means to create. And to create means to make something out of nothing. That's what a Leo has to do. So out of this air, I need to make pottery, or I need to create a dance, or I need to make calligraphy or paint a painting, right? Or something I need to create if I am a Leo rising. So there's a deep desire for Leo to be of benefit to others, to build a life and a legacy that provides for others. That is why a Leo has to attach to others. They are providers. They have got to create, make something out of nothing for another person. And they're quite loyal at it too. You know, they have to belong to a family, and they're usually filled with pride around their family, either the family they came from or the family they created, or both. Tell me if that's true. Please leave a comment below and let me know if that's true. They usually take enormous pride in their children, or in their parents, or in their grandparents, or all of it. So leave us a comment below, Leos, if you can relate to this. We have to talk about fairy tales. I know this is so long. You're getting a double dose here, Leos. I hope you're sticking through this. And I hope you like this video. Let me know if you do. I want to know if you can resonate. I want to know if you feel this, Leo risings. But we have to talk about fairy tales because, like Diana Stone, she's a favorite astrologer of mine. God bless her. She's an angel now, but she was a great mentor of mine when I first started astrology. And Sue Tompkins both talk about this. But we have to talk about fairy tales because, and I give both of those beautiful women credit for this deeper understanding. But Leo, where you have Leo in the chart is where you're kind of royal. And so Leos are royalty. They are noble. They are the king and the queen. So this is where you're king or queen. And, you know, fairy tales are always built around a story of a king and a queen and a villain and, you know, a good guy and a bad guy. And, you know, so what's your favorite fairy tale? If you're Leo rising right now, before I talk more, just tell me what your favorite fairy tale is, right? Because I want you to think about it. It's your favorite for a reason. So you are going to see that Leo risings have fairy tale stories that play out in their own lives. And have you ever seen just a beautiful fairy tale? No, there's usually something so atrociously painful and sickening, right? Think of all of them. They're just all really, they've got like really gory themes in them, right? So they're dramatic. And fairy tales were the old soap operas. Their life can look like a soap opera, but really it looks like a fairy tale. And oftentimes they're either the king or the queen or the princess or the prince. But think of your favorite fairy tale and tell me, is there something in your life's story that duplicates the fairy tale? What do Leo risings look like? Well, they have like cat-like mannerisms. They have very strong faces. They usually have high cheekbones. They usually have cat eyes. They always have a big head of hair or a mane, a tasseled mane somehow, or they've had the same hair, or they're really proud of their hair. Here, let me be proud of my hair for a minute. Let me be super Leo with my hair. Wait a minute. You gotta get big Texas hair to get your Leo on. You gotta get your Leo on. Are you proud of your hair? Their hair's their trademark in some way. It's their signature. Sometimes they never change it forever, but they usually look vital. They look important. They look noble. They look healthy. And they usually are attractive. They're usually kind of like stunning in some way, either their clothes or their outfit or something. Because they like to shine, right? So they're not like, Now, if you're a shy Leo, I feel like you might have gotten trapped in the role, maybe not even being successful at being able to figure it out, find it, or play it out thoroughly, and you haven't been able to open up the rest of your chart. And if that's you, please, dear God, get a reading from one of my readers. Please, soulnavigation.com. Yeah. Also, don't forget to put Dawn Wonder in the comments to win our Christmas crystal. We're going to draw the name soon. In November, we're going to draw it. So, Dawn Wonder is my partner, and she designed all these gorgeous necklaces. So also, you guys, I didn't even tell you, be a super supporter. Oh my gosh. Come learn with me and be a super supporter. Just click the join button right next to the subscribe button. And come be in my inner circle. I have like I have like 116 people now. It's so exciting. And I do live streams just for members only. And it's so great because I can go a little bit deeper. But this is the last thing I want to say, then I'll let you go. But Leos can look like they have a really blessed life where deep inside they're really alienated. And they have very painful wounds that are so private and so alienating. I mean, it would be easier to get a Scorpio to open up to you than a Leo sometimes. That's how private they are about their wounds. And they keep their wounds over there. So some of them aren't even in touch with what their wounds are. But they have too much pride to show the vulnerability to you. But when they learn to be vulnerable and open up their heart to somebody who doesn't place conditions on loving them, that is, and that goes to themselves too. When they don't place conditions on themselves to loving themselves, like they love themselves in their flaws and weaknesses, that's when they've truly arrived. And then they usually can meet another person who can match them in that energy. And that's when they're liberated from having to play a role. Self-love is a really big, important piece to this, because oftentimes they're like Virgos, where they can only love themselves if they're doing and performing and being, being the role that they were supposed to fulfill in their childhood with their parents. But when they can be vulnerable, and if you are a Leo rising, tell me who you can be vulnerable to. Like real vulnerableness. They have a regalness about themselves that is just relentless in wearing this proud, brave face. And they refuse to squirm. They won't squirm because, quite frankly, they were conditioned not to squirm. You don't squirm, you take it. And they tackle life head on. And they entertain the world while doing it, right? And they keep their wounds, their gory stuff to themselves. They never, ever let anyone see them. But they must, in order to have the kind of life they truly want, they must let other people see them. So to my Leos out there, my Leo risings out there, please, like the famous Wayne Dyer says, do not let the music die inside of you. That's my Leo rising. I hope you liked it. Take good care of you. Be a subscriber. Come be a super supporter. You will love it. Join the group. You get so many benefits. Go check out everything out in the notes below. Take good care.